So you're all a part of my speech class on abortion and pro-life. So.
Who's switching seats? I want the younger girls here up front.
How old is this?
This is 11th and 12th grade.
10th, 11th.
10th, 11th, and 12th grade girls. Every day in the United States, the number of American lives that are taken outweigh the number of lives that were taken on September 11th. That is every day. Also, the number of lives taken every year is about the same as those throughout all of the wars and the battlefields fought. It's pretty crazy to think about what is taking these lives. Abortion. More than 50 million lives have been taken since 1973 during Roe versus Wade, which was the legal battle that decided that abortion could be legal here in the United States. And you hear it all the time. You hear abortion talked about. You hear so many different things. As Christians, we definitely believe pro-life. We stand on that side of things, but you hear people, bring up arguments on pro-choice and that it is the mother's choice to choose. And so today, I just really would like to talk with you a little bit about why I believe pro-life and why I believe that it should be made illegal here in the United States. The number one issue that I have against abortion is that it kills human life. It is human life. On the pro-choice side of things, women say that the baby is only a clump of cells in the beginning, that it hasn't quite formed yet, that it's there, that the baby, it's merely like a tumor is almost what they describe it as, that removing it from the mother's body is not taking that life. But my argument is, if left there, that baby will grow. That baby already has all of the DNA, all of the chromosomes, everything that it needs. The Lord talks about in the Bible how He has a plan that even in our mother's womb, that He has a plan for our lives. So, if that baby has a plan there, it is a baby. It's not just a clump of cells. In fact, even by the 22nd day of pregnancy, the baby has its own heartbeat and circulates its own blood. To me, that says that it is its own life, aside from the mother. And that's only at 22 days, not even a month. And even by week 6, brainwaves are detectable. The baby has already formed its eyes and its limbs. Not only does abortion kill human life, but it does so brutally. Abortion can be divided into 3 different types, main ways that they kill these babies. And one way is through the administration of drugs. One is inducing the mother to cause an unborn child to be born. And then whenever it's too early and it can't really do anything. And then also those that use surgery. And you hear whenever people speak about abortion that are for it, they're so quick to be like, they don't want to think about the actual procedure. They want to smooth it over, especially people that will argue the pro-choice side, that it's a simple procedure. No one wants to talk about what actually happens. How exactly do they take this life? There's one type that's suction aspirations that is performed during the early stages of pregnancy when this baby is just tiny, 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 really during the first 12 weeks. And I want you all to remember that between 8 and 10 weeks, this baby has already begun growing hair. It can already do things such as suck its thumb. It can turn little somersaults. Like, this baby is moving. This baby, even at 8 to 12 weeks, is alive. It is there. And this method for suction aspiration, what it does is basically like a little vacuum cleaner that they put into the woman and put it into the womb, and this instrument, basically what it does is a hollow knife with an edge on the end. A knife on the edge. and then they use this vacuum cleaner, which is, I believe it is 29 times more powerful than a household vacuum cleaner, and they literally pull the baby. This is very graphic, but they basically suck the baby out of the mother's womb, and this tears this little child into pieces. And then they just discard it as if it's nothing more than a tumor, but it's not. It's a baby. Another form is dilation and cuttage, and similar, but they actually take a knife and cut the baby into pieces in this form. They literally are murdering. After the initial 12 weeks of pregnancy, the baby now has all of its arteries. This is at 3 months. So all of its arteries are there. This baby, by week 18, it can even feel pain at this stage. So when people argue that the baby doesn't know, the baby is actually there. After about 16 weeks or 4 months, saline injection can be performed. And this type of abortion, they actually put a salt solution into the mother's stomach that literally, within about an hour, the baby breathes it in, because the baby is breathing in the fluids and, now is using the bathroom and functioning. And whenever the baby breathes in these fluids, it is poisoning the baby. But what's really sad is a lot of times these babies are born and they're still alive. And they have been adopted out. There have been stories and cases of that, which is amazing to think. But to imagine that this is what's happening, and not only does it poison them, but it actually burns the outer layer of skin because the salt solution is so corrosive. So it's just really, really hard. There's prostaglandin chemical abortion, which again, it's a chemical that causes the mother to go into labor and have the baby. But because the mother, it causes unnatural contraction so strong that it literally, brutally just kills the baby. It's too much for the baby's little body at that stage. Then they also do surgery, such as what you would hear like a woman have a C-section. They literally go in and basically they kill the baby before they take it out. It's almost as if we have accepted that as long as the baby is still in the mother, it's not alive. Almost like if they can kill it before it is out of the mother, they can justify that they are only taking part of the mother. But the truth is, it's a child. But perhaps the most horrific abortion procedure, which has in many states been made illegal, is partial birth abortion. And this can be done at any stage during the pregnancy, all the way up. And it basically, they literally allow the baby to practically be born. They pull the baby out of the mother except for its head. Again, they don't want this life completely outside of the mother. They want to leave it because it, in a sense, justifies. And then they are able to literally, brutally, they use it's like a scissors, a forceps in the scissor to put into the baby's skull, and to then using a device to suck the baby's brains. And again, this is horrific. Like, I hate to even think about it, but literally, this is what they are doing to American babies and taking this child's life so that they can kill it, and that these they're just so brutal that they're very rarely talked about in detail. And again, I really did not touch much on them. Not only does abortion take life from the baby, but it also, in essence, can take life from the mother. Now that we've talked about all of the brutal ways that these babies have been aborted and are being aborted even today, and how it is a life and it should not be treated as differently, I want to talk about the mother. And when these women make this choice, and oftentimes they're young, they don't know, they're uninformed. Again, people share that it is only a clump of cells, that is not an actual baby, that, they often will tell women that, you can do more in life, you can do this, you're not ready for a child. But these women face many issues after this. First of all, there are physical complications. I mean, they may be small. The earlier in a pregnancy that a woman has an abortion, the lower the risk, but there is a risk. It says the physical complications associated with induced abortion occur approximately 10% of women immediately. While only 2% are considered major, many physical complications take time to develop. So many times when people want to argue that there's very rare physical complications, they actually have not been reported because they happen so far down the road from the abortion that the women usually don't step up and point it to that. Bleeding, anesthesia, infection, and undiagnosed ectopic pregnancies can be found after the first 10 years following an abortion. Also, the risk of death is higher in women that have had abortions. They have actually done studies, and they find that even with each abortion, usually the life expectancy of a mother decreases. I found that very interesting. Studies completed in Denmark over the entire population of women have found that the first 10 years following an abortion, I just actually said that, also women are at higher risk for cervical cancer. They're also at a higher risk of liver and ovarian cancer that has also been linked back to abortion. They can also have other problems that cause them to have issues in later pregnancies. A lot of times these women are younger, they're not ready to have a child, they think, so they abort their child, they move on, then one day they're ready to have kids and they cannot have a healthy delivery. So even that leads forward in their farther on life. According to the Elliott Institute, a study of records from California Medicaid patients who had received an abortion, these women were 160% more likely to be hospitalized for psychiatric treatment in the first 3 months following an abortion. So not only do we have more health risks, but psychological. These women are dealing with emotional distress. They are having to deal with taking the life of their child. They're having to deal with that in their own way. Many of these women, they also use coping as a mechanism. They won't go and get help. They are more likely to use alcohol and drugs. They're most likely to have eating disorders. They are more likely to have child neglect or abuse in the future. Some of them have even reported post-traumatic stress syndrome, which you usually hear that talked about with soldiers coming home from wars. But that is something that even these women, it's such a stressful event in their life that they have a hard time coping in the future. And of course, different degrees of this. Some women may have smaller ends of that and others stronger. Also, it's shown that divorce rates are higher with women that have had abortions because it puts a strain on their relationships, whether they were married at the time that they had the abortion and they're having to deal with that later on, or whether they had it before the relationship and then they're having to cope through those struggles and their new husband or however not understanding what they have done in their past and what they're dealing with. According to the Elliott Institute, women who have had abortions were 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide compared to women who had not been pregnant in the previous year. And they were 6 times more likely to commit suicide than women who had delivered. So, in conclusion, abortion is an ugly that is stealing away our American youth. It is stealing away our generations. It is murder of the unborn. It is not just as simple as a choice, but it is a painful decision that is leaving lasting consequences not only on the mother, but on our future generations, and I believe America as a whole. I hope that you have a better understanding of why I believe that abortion should be made illegal, and why we can stand for the unborn and the mothers that are suffering from their choices. Thank you.